Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. When I wrote the concept of Dharma, a Dharma as an underlying principle, right from Kurukshetra to Trojan War, I didn't mean Dharma to be what people in English language would consider Dharma is not religion. As a matter of fact, Dharma should be interpreted as being in synchronization with the universal scheme of creation. It's a part of the creation. Is the underlying ethical principles of living and fighting against the heavy odds. Is a ethical principle rather than a religious one, and it has to be differentiated from dharma and adharma, like ethical and unethical, desirable and undesirable. And this view of dharma is basically the Vedantist view and also finds an echo in the philosophy of Aristotle, Xenophon, and number of other metaphysicians of the ancient Greeks. These two civilizations, the two most ancient civilizations, of course, Incas were there, and the Chinese are there, and the Egyptians are there. But this concept of dharma permeates these two civilizations and cultures. And this concept, the ethical concept, the dharma versus the dharma. I am not saying religious and irreligious again. It is devoid of any religious connotation. It's purely secular connotation. And this concept has played a major role in transformation of society and also history. The concept of dharma normally people associate with Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism. It has been variously interpreted. But the reality is, as I said, it's a moral law. It's it's a duty and is a unifying principle of cosmic equilibrium. And this concept can most explicitly, comprehensively be found in Bhagavad Gita when Krishna, appearing in his transcendent form, enjoins a faltering Arjuna to take up arms in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And the fight is against his own relations, his own blood, his own kith and kin. And not doing this fight would be adharmic. No, that's a denial of dharma. It's not anti-dharma. Adharma is denial of dharma, denial of duty, denial of performing your job. Is what in secular officialese we'll call it dereliction of duty. It's a moral and spiritual imperative. Determine an individual's code of conduct beyond the compulsion of fear or hatred or self-gratification. Again, nothing to do with the religion. It's a moral code that determines your conduct, and neither fear nor greed, neither love nor hate, nor any personal benefit should come in the picture or in the display of your duty. And then imagine this. This very concept which was propounded by Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra finds expression and echo in the philosophy of Aristotle, Xenophon and others. Now in Hellenic Greece, there is no equivalent of sin as conceived in the Christian world. As a matter of fact, even in the Hindu way, adharma and adharma, one is performing your duty, the other is not performing your duty. There is no path, no sin. So the concept of sin is different from being adharmic. The closest approximation of sinfulness was acedia, which is derived from the prefix a, denoting negation, and kidos, meaning care, negation of care. That is adharmic. So dharma was the underlying principle both in the Kurukshetra war and in the Trojan war. And both wars are taken up because they are extremely important. The whole civilization changed. The Indic civilization changed absolutely. And it era came to an end. A new era started. Same is about the Trojan wars. Now, as a matter of fact, if you study Iliad and Odyssey and Ramayana and Mahabharata, you will find identity of stories. Sita is kidnapped in Ramayana. Helen is kidnapped in Iliad. Now, both sides, even the gods participate in the war, and the gods are actually involved in the war. So that is why dharma comes into picture in Kurukshetra, and acedia, which implies lack of heedfulness, spiritual apathy, a disconnect with yourself and the world at large. As a matter of fact, this concept was later on developed by the Christians in the sin of sloth. And sin of sloth is not physical laziness, as is commonly presumed. It's a spiritual inertia, which is the denial of love for all creation, a noonday demon, which is an absolute, unexplainable antipathy to life itself. Now, and this concept has continued. I was reading the American writer and poet Kathleen Norris, who narrates her own experience with acedia. And then she differentiates it from depression, which is a psychological condition. But adharma is a spiritual affliction, not a psychological one. It calls for regeneration and reawakening. Now, this is the dharma, but when the Greek antidote to adharma is dharma, which is enkrasia. That's what enkrasia is from the root word kratos, which means power. Dharma empowers you, as enkrasia is empowerment. It's a moral empowerment, and that is what permeates Kurukshetra and Trojan. The Pandavas were empowered because they were fighting a dharmic war. So were the Trojans. So, it means power not over others, but over yourself. The willingness and capability of overcoming weakness and deficiency of spirit. Now, Arjun was not a weak person, but there was a deficiency of spirit. And then Krishna came in and told him to obey nobody but his own conscience. And conscience is dharma and krishya. That needs to be empowered. And the Greek counterpart of dharma and dharma, as I said, and krishya and acedia, an occultation, eclipse, and the spirit which leads to the righteous action. The Iliad, the Greek Mahabharata, I call it the Mahabharata of the Greeks, as I called Odyssey like Ramayana. Homer cites an example of acedia, the dishonor done by Achilles to the vanquished foe Hector, whose body the vengeful victor drags behind his chariot, incurring the wrath of gods who bring about the death of an invincible warrior by the fatal blow that strikes his vulnerable heel. So Achilles dies because of his bad behavior. But here in Mahabharata, in the Kurukshetra war, Bhim has indulged in a similar act when he hits Duryodhan below the belt, on the hip. And that is Krishna's elder brother, Balram, comes in and challenges Bhim, but Krishna intervenes, saying that yes, Bhim is wrong, but wrong is to be met with wrong. So that plea is basically the plea of equitable dharma. You get what you sow. You reap what you sow. You cannot get apples from thistles. Now, passage from adharma to dharma or from asadia to ancratia is very well illustrated in another book, which is neither connected with the Hindu philosophy, not with the Christian philosophy, but is in fact Christian religious philosophy. John Bunyan wrote a novel, The Pilgrims Progress. The full title of the book is very interesting. The Pilgrims Progress from this world to that which is to come. It was published in 1678 and it has been translated in more than 200 languages and seems to be second only to Bible as a religious bestseller. Now, this book narrates the allegorical journey undertaken by every man. Every man is Christian. From dark night of the soul to the resonance of light that is found when you are performing ancratia. There is a celestial light to salvation. And that celestial light which the pilgrim Christian finds in John Bunyan's book is the same which led Yudhishthira and his brothers under the tutelage of Krishna to heavens, which led Hector, Achilles and others to ancratia. That concept of dharma and ancratia is permeating the civilizations, as I said, and from Kurukshetra to the Greece of antiquity, from the Trojan Dharma to the Christian pilgrimage. The path of Dharma are many. So the same concept can be applicable in different ways. But there's one thing, which you cannot deny, that both these wars, Mahabharata and Trojan wars, they saw, and I think they find an expression in Hemingway also when he says grace under pressure. Now look at it from the purely religious to metaphysical to religious and then to absolutely temporal, earthly word. Dharma and Krishna, Pilgrims Progress, and then Hemingway's grace under pressure. And what's that? This is exactly what Dharma is. Unflinching resolve to do one thing and only thing. There's no alternative. You have got to do your duty. There's no alternative to that. And you have to perform. Whatever the result is, don't care for that. As long as you are performing your duty, you are performing dharma. Now this injunction, even in the modern life, I saw a second slogan of a popular brand of sportswear. Just do it. That's in a nutshell. Just do it. And that permeates and separates dharma from adharma. And what is this? The finest expression of this I found in Macaulay's Lays of Rome. That's a great poem which clearly explains dedication, duty, performance, oblivious of the death or anything. And the four lines which have impacted me a lot are: to every man upon this earth, Death comes soon or late to every man upon this earth. Death comes soon or late. And how can man die better than facing fearful odds? For the ashes of his fathers and the temple of his gods. Ashes of his fathers and temples of his gods and fearful odds. So even if you die facing these fearful odds, but you're performing your duty, what you think to be proper, you are performing as per Encratia, as per Dharma, opposed to Adharma and Krisya. This is the prevailing message of both the philosophies, the Indic and the Hellenic, and they are in fact the purpose of human life. Death would come sooner or later. And how can you die better than facing fearful odds? For the ashes of your fathers and temples of your gods. Of course, I've changed from his to yours because you have to fight this battle of Dharma, of Encratia, and of grace, unflinching resolve to do one thing and only one thing, the only thing: fight, work, do as per your Dharma, as per your Encratia. Thank you.